Well, speaking of fingers in the pie, Jim, before we get out of here this week, let's get you some audio from the Double or Nothing Media Scrum.
Oh boy, they're scrumming again, eh?
They're scrumming. A lot of people were talking about MJF. I also want to play you some stuff from Bryan Danielson I think that you would find interesting. Orange Cassidy spoke. No one cares about that. Toni Storm spoke. I actually found her really good as a heel on this, if anyone wants to check that out. Also, Chris Statlander, and it was very nice to see how emotional she is about not just winning the title, but the fact that fans have actually wanted to see her for a while. So that's very nice to see, but let's hear the beginning here with Toni.
Hope everyone had a good time at the show. Hey, Mandy and John, you guys can feel free to start calling out people for questions, but I'll stay and try to get as many answers as I can for people who travel. I really appreciate everyone being here. It's very awesome being back in Vegas where we started everything 4 years ago, the 5th Double or Nothing. Thought we started out hot and ended. Oh no.
Started out hot and ended, oh no.
Let's talk about it.
Well, he's telling the truth, isn't he?
Yep. I assume
Best
MJF
single
is
dog
walking
collar
in.
match of all time. Check. Best Iron Man match of all time. Fucking check. Jesus Christ, I thought Jay White had trouble with this fucking thing.
He's trying to put his belt on the display.
Could be because of the wrist. Best fucking four-way match. Fucking triple check. But people are still gay. They can't help themselves. I mean, I get it. I get it. Who the fuck wants to look in the mirror and go, yeah, there's a 27-year-old child who's the best professional wrestler in the world when I've accomplished close to nothing in my fucking life. So I get why AEW fans are so fucking hot. I get it, Tony. I really do. I really do. But I don't fucking feel bad for you. It's not my fault. I was just born to do this. Am I supposed to apologize for that, Tony Khan? I don't think so. That was a fucking rhetorical question. What I would like is non-rhetorical questions. That's what I would love. Also, anybody see what I beat Darby Allin with for a second time? Can somebody remind me real quick in the room? What was the maneuver? Oh, that's right. I beat Darby Allin twice with a fucking headlock takeover. Holy shit. That's embarrassing. You know, it's funny. It's getting to the point where I feel like me beating my competition with a headlock takeover kind of sums up my competition in general in this company. You're running out of motherfuckers to get that belt off. And it's getting fucking sad. Questions?
Well, there's the opening from MJF with Tony Khan.
He's great. He's great because he's animated. He has inflection. He's a smart ass. He takes control of his time and the room and etc. And I especially love it when Tony's having to sit there next to him and just nod and not know what's coming next and have to be in a position of just nodding and taking the browbeating.
And again, because a lot of the videos have gone viral, Tony's reactions are kind of out there to some of the things MJF said in the past, obviously to CM Punk. Press scrum. You can never tell how much of it.
Tony's reactions are out there, all right.
Well, you can never tell how much of it. Do you think he's working any of it? Does he realize that he can use his weird reactions so that like a heel could be out there and say something?
But I think he's one of these people that only has weird reactions because he doesn't know that his reactions are weird. If he tried to do it, it wouldn't be the same.
Well, let's hear this first question. We're going to bounce around a little bit, but let's check out whatever this first question is.
Righteous Reg,
Yeah.
Drive-Thru Podcast,
Yeah, I know
Pro
you.
Wrestling Illustrated.
Now I work with your friend, unfortunately. He's kind of a piece of shit. You can laugh.
He's talking about Will Washington, who was hired from Fightful and that podcast, I believe, to go work there.
Good old Will.
Off a rip. Max, come on. I thought he was nice. Yeah, okay. Righteous Reg, PW.
All right, let me just say we may be a little tighter with how we clip some of these questions going forward, but let's go to this.
Drive-Thru Podcast.
You know, do you
Max.
Why do you have to do that every time?
I mean,
It's like,
because I have to let him know, Max.
whatever.
You're the AEW World Champion, Max.
Yeah, no shit. Triple B. Best in the
But
world. Yeah.
you weren't the last match of the show.
You're right.
Does that hurt you? Does that
No.
make you upset?
No. Why the fuck would I want to roll around in John Moxley's blood?
Ha!
I'm fucking good on that, okay? No thanks. Also, realistically, whether it's this company or WWE, I think the world title having to go on last kind of is dead in wrestling. And also now, how many pay-per-views has the world title not going on last in this company?
Well, Double or Nothing, several times that you were actually in the Stadium Stampede that went on
that's true.
after the world title at Double or Nothing 2021, and also in 2020, Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee. So, at Double or Nothing, actually 3 out of the 5 years we've ended it with a wild multi-person match like this. And to have the world champion out there in a great match, I thought certainly there was a precedent for it, but the match itself was unprecedented. It was a great match.
But yeah, I'd rather not run around in all that fucking mid-blood. Like, can we get real quick? That's fucking disgusting. Wheeler Yuta was in that match. You think I want to roll around in Wheeler Yuta blood?
He was the only person who didn't bleed tonight, I think.
Did he not bleed?
He was the only one, I think.
Wow. Congrats. All right. Next.
Let's stop it there for a second.
Let me say that here's one of the things here is we talk about how it's a rib press conference. This is not even being done for business. It's being done because Tony likes it. And it does nothing for these websites are already going to cover this show ad infinitum and give them all the press they want. But if you notice the guy that was asked a question, whatever his fucking name is, he's got a gimmick name. He was performing when asked his question, calling MJF Max and, trying to needle him with his question like he's one of the boys or they're doing a promo together. It's a chance and when somebody's a fan, that's great. When they cross over into fucking obsessive markdom, that's one thing. But this is a chance for fan websites about wrestling to be treated like journalists and come in and sit there at 2:00 in the morning and let Tony have this fantasy of doing his real press conference for a gimmick sport. And I mean, the reason I say it's not even being done for business, it's being done for Tony. We used to do worked press conferences all the time where an angle would take place at it and you'd shoot it and put it on television. This is on the internet after the fucking pay-per-view. They've already bought it if they're going to buy it. And the guy's rambling on with Tony sitting there smiling and beaming at 2:00 in the morning is not going to sell that many replays. If they're going to hear about it, it's great and they're going to get it or they're not. But this is just Tony having more of his fantasy world come to life. I'm sorry, but it just that hit me.
No, I think it's important to actually talk about that though, because people ask us at the Wrestling News, how come we're not involved in these? And we cover if anything happens in them, but we've actually been denied in the past.
You've been deleted, denied.
Anyone listen to that show, tell me anything in professional wrestling that's as impartial as the Wrestling News Daily Wrestling Newscast. We were denied for one of them. They told us they had too many people, and then we saw photos of an empty room. And then we have tried to get serious questions on any of the calls. The problem is they don't want to get serious questions. Brandon Thurston was in this media scrum later on. I feel bad for him because he actually is treating this seriously, serious question, and he has people there. I'm not even going to focus on Righteous Reg. The one that gets me, because I don't even know what it is, and it sounds ridiculous, but of all the media outlets, WrestleJoy, whatever the fuck that is, they keep getting in on these. We talked in the past. Yenta Bixenspan has been on the media calls.
But wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Brian Solomon, a published author of well thought of biographies of wrestling greats and a responsible adult male journalist who's going to ask not annoying or obnoxious or harassing questions, but legitimate questions about certain aspects of AEW's business and not going to applaud the boys just because they walk in the room, he can't get a spot?
Brian Solomon couldn't get a spot, I believe, on at least a couple of calls. Lou Kippelman has tried. They've turned him down too. And
no spot for Kippelman.
But again, it's not to say that you have to go to my team. That's not what it's about, because we can cover it the same way anyway. And it's not like we're going to get any answers to any hard-hitting questions from these fucking people. But when you have this thing and you have people who are actual, like Brandon Thurston, I consider an actual wrestling journalist because of the work he does looking at the finances of wrestling. He's doing real work. He's treating it seriously. And next to him is WrestleJoy, and this person has a gimmick.
And right
person,
said Fred.
There's another one coming up here in a second. These people get in that room and they compliment the wrestlers. That was my favorite match or my favorite of all time. These things that, why the hell are you saying this? If you can't ask a question without buttering the person up, do something else. But this is what Tony wants. This is what Tony wants. So the people that are in there are the people that Tony and his team have chosen to be in there for one reason or another. Like I said, Yenta Bixenspan, when he wasn't writing for anyone, was on some of those early. In fact, someone should go look back at this. He was the first person, I believe, that asked a Colt Cabana-related question, funny enough considering who was paying him, to CM Punk during like the first CM Punk media call. All of a sudden, there was a question about people you don't get along with. So, I mean, it was coming from even then. But that's the thing. They don't want real people asking real hard-hitting questions.
But they have to keep Yenta on the phone calls rather than the in-persons because he keeps drooling on the rest of the journalists.
But the point is, they don't want real people in there asking real questions. They want this. They want the little show of guys being able to go in there and stay in character and deliver some stuff. Maybe you get something for real every now and then, but this is like the WWE media scrums after their pay-per-views, which are ridiculous. It's just the production values aren't as high.
Well, that's what we used to do press conferences where you would put people in the audience because the goddamn Boston Globe wouldn't come down to do your deal unless it was WrestleMania. But you'd put gimmick people in the audience to ask legitimate sounding questions, and then you'd do an angle at the press conference and put it on TV to lead to the big show. Afterwards, you're just jacking off and keeping the boys up late.
Well, let's go back to this media scrum. Here's MJF.
But I posted something on the dirty social media, and I said what I wish people would learn is wrestling fans are bloodthirsty, disgusting marks that don't care about our well-being, right? Nobody gives a fuck that my forearm's fucked. You don't care. You were just fucking amped that you saw me fucking dump Darby Allin on his head. Granted, so was fucking I. But still, you don't give a fuck about us. You pretend you do, but you don't give a fuck about us. You care about us just as much as, I don't know, the fucking leader of the Romans cared about his fucking gladiators. You don't give a shit. So what I wish young guys would understand and learn is you get way more out of being a charismatic phenom than you do out of fucking risking your life trying to do a maneuver that, quite frankly, might not win you the match. Now, for me, every single thing that I do in professional wrestling is very meticulous because every single thing I do is to try to win. I'm not trying to waste my fucking time out there. Now, I will do some things to prove a fucking point, like a fucking headlock takeover, but I digress. Stop being fucking idiots. These people don't pay your salaries. Grow up. Next question.
Now, again, there's a line between what's real and what isn't with these things, but MJF looked right at the main camera when he was delivering these lines. What do you think about what he's saying there? I mean, again, not everyone can be a charismatic phenom. It's easy to say that when it comes easily to you. But for all the other young guys in AEW and on the indies who are doing the same wild flips that everyone else does, what do you get out of what MJF just said?
Well, I mean, it's like the old wrestling explanation. For those who believe, no explanation is necessary. For those who don't, none will do. You can't convince some of these people what is going on, but other ones will take it on board. The thing is, if it is true, you can't just decide to be talented like MJF is. You can decide to be a gymnast or to do hardcore shit or all the other stupid shit that the interchangeable nameless indie guys do, but you can't choose to be a talented, charismatic guy. So a lot of them are going to say, well, fuck, it's easy for you to say. But that's why there needs to be more control from the office side of the business. If some of the boys will take that advice he gave them on board, he's doing a great job because he's being a heel, not only to a certain segment of the AEW audience base, but also he's telling some of the guys he probably has to put up with, hey, wake up. But that's the thing, is the office needs to be the one to be responsible to say, hey, we're not going to reward guys doing stupid, reckless shit. We're going to reward the people with our booking and with our putting fucking, who we put on top. That's how we're going to show what kind of talent we're looking for, what kind of workers we're looking for. It's not just if one of the boys that's the world champion says, well, do it my way and you'll be world champion. They can't do it his way because they're not good enough. But the office can restrict what kind of foolishness they put on their show or that they push or they put on their program.
Well, here's more from MJF.
Hi, Xenia from Xenia to That.
I know you.
So we recently saw a lot of open challenges. Orange Cassidy issued an open challenge before the pay-per-view. We've been seeing the House of Black open challenges. How do you feel about that? Would you issue an open challenge?
It feels like work fucking smarter, not dumber. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. Why the fuck? Dude, again, let's talk about bad takes. MJF needs to wrestle more. Every time I wrestle, first of all, it's a fucking classic. So I don't have a point to fucking prove. I wrestle when I literally have to. I don't get paid by the fucking hour. Do I get paid by the fucking hour?
No.
Nope. I get paid by a winner's motherfucking purse. Right? But when you're the world champion, that winner's purse is fucking fat, dude. So I don't have to wrestle all the fucking time. So let that Mark Orange Cassidy wrestle every single fucking week. I'm a star. I don't need to wrestle every fucking week. I wrestle when I feel like it. Next question.
What do you think of that one?
And again, in the early days of the program, we said they should have put, and I still think this, they should have put MJF in the ring more to establish him instead of just talking. He should have been working quickly and talking quickly instead of all talking some of the time. But now he's at the point where he doesn't need to, and actually being on this show, and it's a danger because you never know what kind of idiot they're going to give you. Okay, Rush, or some guy that doesn't know what he's doing is going to hurt him or whatever. Or they're just going to want a match that is way too competitive for MJF's position in the company or whatever. So I don't mind him not wrestling now. He's the world champion. He doesn't need to prove anything. So that point is well taken, and it's better when he only talks and or appears as the guy rather than just going out there to wrestle for the sake of it.
Well, here is some more from MJF.
Hi, Mark Hoke, the Mark Hoke Show, 101.5 FM K-Dawn here in Las Vegas. Congratulations on your victory tonight.
K-Dawn?
Congrats on having type 3 diabetes, Mark. How may I help you?
Not quite.
Pretty
quite.
fat, but it's okay. What's your question?
It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, you just said to Tony that you're running out of challengers. What do you want your next challenge to be?
I don't give a fuck, man. Fuck. I'm just going to pin him and he's going to pay me, and that's the end of the story. And look, you want to get real? Okay. I think everyone's scared. Point blank. I think people in this company are afraid to wrestle me because they know that I'm going to outclass them on the microphone and in the ring. If there is a matchup that you think should happen, the reason it hasn't happened is because they are terrified of getting outclassed by me. Done. Next question.
That's interesting. I mean, again, his tone changed a little bit there. I wonder if there's something to that.
I don't know. You never know. He can deliver the best of bullshit with the best of conviction, but there may very well be something to that. Again, the AEW fans react to MJF's matches like main events. It's not just about the flipping. When they see something that makes sense, they respond to it. And he's the particular proof, the living proof, that all the rest of them don't have to do goddamn dives and flips and cartwheels and round-offs and furniture and craziness.
Let me go to this next clip.
Harry Ruiz with Raider Nation Radio. Max, 4 years ago.
You got like Dumbo ears, man. Anybody ever tell you that?
Actually, I have. 4 years ago, you participated in the first ever match in AEW history here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Now you just defended your title again, but now here in the city where it all started. What has been your biggest challenge in those 4 years to get to where you are right now, being the biggest champ?
Ryan Alvarez, stop smiling so much at me. I'm not going to stop. What a weirdo. How does it make me feel? And what was a challenge? Is that what you had? I'm sorry. Your ears were fucking freaking me out. The biggest challenge, frankly, is cementing a legacy, because pro wrestling fans have never been more fickle in the history of this sport. And I think we can all agree on that. One week, I'm the best professional wrestler in the world. The next week, I'm the drizzling shits. And that's not just me. That's every single professional wrestler on the planet. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because we have everything like this. I want food. Press a button. It comes to your house, just like your limp dick. I want, I don't know, I want something off Amazon. I'm not going to do it again to the table because you're going to look stupid if I do it again. Boom. You press something, it comes to your house. I want to talk to somebody. You go on your phone, you text them. It gets sent to them immediately. We live in a new world. So people want instant gratification. Right now. I want it great right now. What? I don't believe in that. I believe in the sport of professional wrestling. I believe in things being built to. I believe in contenders for me being built up so they are worthy of a match. I don't believe in just throwing myself out there to appease you people like a dancing fucking monkey. That is not my job, and it never will be. So, yeah.
What do you think of that?
And again, Tony's having to sit right there and just boom, boom, boom. It's obvious he knew that nobody cared about the fucking four-way match. And he knows that the booking is so simplistic and nonsensical at the same time. And he's sitting there saying it, and Tony fucking has to hear it. And I don't know why would he think that all these people are saying these things just right in front of him and there's not something to it? I don't know.
Well, let's finish up with MJF with this last question. Let's go to this.
Here we go. Last question.
Hey, MJF, the schmo with the schmozum. Nice to see you. You look good. Got a question for you. You're raising up your profile every day. You're trying to make a legacy for yourself. But what do you think it's going to take that next step over the top to have the name to be one of the greatest this sport's ever seen?
Okay. I'm already there. Next question. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Schmo.
Schmo.
If I literally retired today, this is not hyperbole. I've had one of the best professional wrestling runs in the history of the business. That's a fact. Best oratory exhibitions, best Iron Man match, best singles dog collar match. Tonight I just had the best four-way. And also some of the best rivalries in the history of the sport. Cody Rhodes, Wardlow, CM Punk, Danielson, and that's just to name a few. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I called it quits, I've had a Hall of Fame career, which is why, quite frankly, when I say take my ball and go home, earmuffs, Tony, everybody thinks I'm talking about WWE, right? And now, does Nick Khan want me to fucking work in his company? Sure. Does Triple H want me to work in his company? Sure. Calm down. Everything's fine. Or maybe it's not. But I'm kind of bored of this sport, and I'm bored of the lack of respect from professional wrestling fans. So when I say take my ball and go home, I mean literally just hang it up and fuck up the lineage of this title. Because frankly, I don't know if anybody's worthy of beating me for this thing. Now, I'm not just going to hand it away. Why the fuck would I do that? I earned this thing. So please, by all means, take it off of me. Somebody put me out of my fucking misery. But until then, we'll see what happens. Sick.
All right. Well, that's MJF's leaving the room now.
I'm not sure, whereas this does him any good at this point. When Cody has already left, and when the show looks the way it does, for the world champion to still be doing the deal where I might leave and go to work for the real company if you don't give me a raise or do whatever. I'm not, because if this show was growing in leaps and bounds in popularity, or it was really good, he wasn't just the only good thing on it, then maybe you could get by with it. But isn't that a little too close to the nerve?
You know what's interesting? He said Cody, CM Punk, Wardlow, Danielson. He was in a feud for a year with Jericho. Didn't mention that.
No, I'm hoping he's put that out of his mind.
I think he's hoping we've all put it out of our mind.